We're getting into trouble here at the Kingston Tap House and Grill on Richard Street as Martini presents his end of the month Trouble Tea Men's Dance.
Trouble Tea came about when the lesbians gave up their big gig at Pride about 5 years ago at Balthazar. I think Trouble attracts a very special sort of guy in Vancouver, a guy who's maybe not so comfortable with going out on a Friday night and dealing with the whole suburban crowd. It's just a very urban mix of very nice men, very friendly.
As you can see, Trouble Tea attracts plenty of men, but there's only one Ivana booking.
It's great for the guys to come together and to meet, and I'm the official greeter because it's the only place that I'm allowed in.
Everybody is welcome to Trouble Tea. We would love to have more women come down. It's just a really comfortable environment for the gay boys in our community who just want to have a beer.
The Kingston House is an amazing place. It's all these different levels, and the staff here is really, really, they're so accommodating and they're so open, and that's the way the world is now. People aren't gay, straight, pink, yellow, they're just people, and I think they really epitomize that here.
I've always encouraged sports teams. We've raised lots of money for McLaren Housing Society. Any of the sporting teams that want to co-host Trouble Tea Dance, they get half the proceeds. And it's just kind of a fun thing for everybody. And anybody who wants to raise some money is always welcome to come down. And any fresh new DJ who wants to spin down here, I always invite them down to show off their stuff. Trouble Tea happens the last Sunday of every month at the Kingston Tap House and Grill. And if you need any more information, just contact Martini at troubletea@telus.net.
Here's your chance to mingle while also sipping on some of the city's greatest martinis. As well, there are plenty of great prizes up for grabs. I'm Clayton Timko for The Express. I'm running a bit of a fever here at Celebrities on Davie Street as Tommy D's Spring Fever, The Boys of Eden, returns for a second time, hotter than ever.
I came up with the idea of Spring Fever last year after I met a friend of mine who's a DJ in Toronto, and I told him that I would bring him to Vancouver within 6 months. And really, Spring Fever was I just wanted to do a party in the spring. There was nothing happening in the spring. You know, spring is a time where everything grows back, all the plants and everything come back, and the most amazing garden in the history of all time was apparently the Garden of Eden, so that was the inspiration. This year we have Falcon Studios model Roman Hart here. He's going to be doing a couple sets go-go dancing. The big thing you can expect is DJ Junior from Toronto. His sound is so East Coast, so Toronto. You don't get that here.
It's usually like tribal, anything that sounds good, really. Anything that gets my attention, anything with a good beat. Try to play a lot of Canadian artists. I think the club scene here is just a little bit smaller than it is in Toronto, but definitely a good vibe here.
Coming to Spring Fever, it's the Garden of Eden here tonight. There's lots of hot guys here tonight. Lots of dancers, strippers, celebrities nightclub. It doesn't get much better than that.
In addition to two great DJs, Spring Fever also featured psycho burlesque and live rhythmic dancing. Visiting Spring Fever this year is a Falcon exclusive model. Coming from Bellingham, he appreciates what Vancouver's gay community has to offer.
In Bellingham, there's only like one gay club, and it's not that big. And up here, you have Odyssey, you have Celebrities, the biggest club up here, and also you could go down the street and do karaoke at Numbers. you know, it's pretty awesome, and like the gay life up here is pretty big, so I have an awesome time.
Every week I host Boy Bar at Celebrities. We have DJ Dan James here every Thursday and myself. And you can, depending on how this goes, you might see something at Pride. Yeah, you can go to, I have a website, tommy-d.ca. It's got all information about every event that I do, every event I go to. Lots of pictures, lots of good stuff. You can see everyone, lots of fun.
Is there any organization or a particular cause that Spring Fever will be going towards to benefit or anything like that?
Yes, of course. I believe in giving back to the community as much as possible. So this year, we're helping out OUTtvGO, and they educate youth between the ages of 15 and 29 on HIV and AIDS. And I think that age range is, you know, the least educated, I think, right now. So I think they're a great organization, so we're helping them out this year.
It may feel like summer all around us, but keep in mind that it's still spring here for another month. And what a better way to celebrate than to attend a Tommy D event. I'm Clayton Timko for The Express. I'm in search of stardom here at the Vancouver International Film Centre on Seymour Street as Van City presents Stardom 2006, a performance fundraiser benefiting the centre.
The rafters with some straights, lesbians and queens, they would turn and say, my God, I don't believe it.
Well, I've been always involved in enjoying the center and all the things that they did for the community. I did it in 2003 and then took a couple of years off, and I'm so pleased to be back here in this fabulous theater. It is a wonderful night, and I'm working with my family, the great talent of Sybil, Candace and Lovey, Leora Cash, Jay Krebs, and Abacadabra. We're just having a ball here tonight. We're having the party of the century.
The monies raised from tonight's event will go towards many of the programs and services that the center offers, and that includes everything, say, starting with the GAB youth services, and also deals with the Generations Project, which deals with aging and older populations. One of our board members about 5 years ago got the rest of the board interested in the idea of entertainment fundraisers, and we know that they're very popular in the communities, and so he got us started on the sort of the basic models that a lot of organizations have used, and then of course we added our own special LGTB flavor to it all.
A good man nowadays sure is hard to find.
Oh, you're too nice, girlfriend, let me tell you. Well, a hard man is good to find. Sometimes you get that floppy kind.
It's also a great opportunity for people to come and see the entertainment side of things. And this is an easy way for people to come to, say, our silent auctions or participate in the raffles and so on, and just have a great fun night. And again, it's to a great cause, and people enjoy themselves.
The live performances are absolutely stunning. Leora Cash, I've listened to Leora for probably the last 6 years in Vancouver. I watched her evolve as a performer, and that would be my thrill. Leora's voice, and the ability for Stardom to attract that kind of a talent, it's what separates it from all of the other events in our community, because they're live and they're such powerful performers. But I'll take Leora Cash.
So if your man is nice, take my advice. Hug him every morning, kiss him late at night.
The center recently was successful in getting money from the city of Vancouver in a feasibility study, and that helps us start the path towards developing a new facility or a newer facility. There's a lot of work for the board members to do this sort of project. There's a lot of running around, but when you get that kind of support from community members like Van City, it just makes it so much more enjoyable.
It's amazing how one night of divine performances can lead to many years of continuous support in the community. Stardom will definitely be back again next year, but until then, if you'd like to help out, you can visit supportthecenter.com. I'm Clayton Timko for The Express.
If you change your mind, I'll be risking times. Let me ask you free. Take a chance on me.
It's been 25 years since the world first learned about AIDS, and since that time, millions of lives have been lost and continue to be. Tonight, we're at Sunset Beach for the Vancouver Memorial AIDS Vigil.
Melvin, GK, Thomas.
The significance of being part of the International AIDS Vigil is that tonight we are participating in over 4,500 communities in 93 countries around the world, uniting in the world's largest grassroots AIDS event. And we're here to honor and remember those we have lost to HIV and AIDS.
Since 1981, more than 25 million people around the world have died of AIDS. Tonight, despite the rain, many have turned out to hear the names of just a few of those people.
Arlene, Gordon, Stephen, Jeffrey, Stuart, Brian, Terry Goldwyn, Corina.
Tonight is the night that we are dedicating the last two panels for the Vancouver AIDS Memorial. This means that the AIDS Memorial is now complete, and a year from today we'll be turning it over to the City of Vancouver. And I guess the AIDS Memorial started about 10 years ago, so we started with a lot of controversy, but through all that we had a lot of supporters. My disappointment though with this, we only have maybe over 1,000 names, and we know that a lot more people have died of HIV/AIDS. So that still talks a lot about the need for education and the need for destigmatization of this disease.
The Vancouver AIDS Memorial is probably an 11-year effort in the making. It took a lot of effort and courage, I think, on a lot of people's parts to step forward and give us the permission to build in the city, the opportunity to go out into the communities and ask for the names, and of course to raise the funds to actually produce it. So it's a substantial effort, and you'll see 11 years of work right here.
One of the next steps that we're taking, the memorial is now complete, but we will be holding the AIDS Vigil annually here in correlation with the International AIDS and Memorial Vigil. And as well as our next project will be a communications education program where we will be taking our nominators and getting them into the school systems and talking about their experiences of dealing with loss of loved ones.
HIV/AIDS does not discriminate. It affects people of all ages, genders, and races, regardless if you're gay or straight. Education and awareness are the best ways to help prevent this devastating disease from spreading. For more information, you can visit aidsmemorial.ca. I'm Clayton Timko for The Express. Grad season is upon us, but for some, bringing their same-sex date to the dance was not an option. While Not So Strictly Ballroom is trying to give those people the grad they never had.
The grad you never had was my idea, actually. Our classes run from September till June every year, and we wanted to have a year-end party that would, and it just seemed natural that, you know, it's the time of year when everyone's having their grad, so maybe we should have a grad too. And because high school was a difficult time for a lot of gay people, you know, you're maybe in the closet or you're unsure about your sexuality, or even if you did go to your grad, which a lot of people I think did not, you might have gone in the closet and not able to go with your same-sex partner or whatever. So hence the idea of the grad you never had.
Many of us love dancing, and we want to dance in same-sex couples, or at least in the queer community. We have helped a little bit of educate some of the instructors out there that we're not ladies and gentlemen, but we are leads and follows, that some of us who are women will lead and some of us who are men will follow, you know.
Some of the dancers tonight will be going on to compete at the world's first ever Out Games in Montreal this summer.
I'm going because I love dancing. It's an end to a means. I like the learning to dance. The competition is a way to learn to dance really well.
And I really like the challenge of having to really practice and having a goal. And, you know, dancing at the Outsports is a really good chance to, you know, focus and really, you know, aim for something that's really tangible. So I think it's really good for us. I think dancing is really, really good for you in a whole bunch of different levels. It's really great socially. It's really important to be moving your body, especially as you're aging and you're under stress and things. And so it's a really good thing to balance your life, and, you know, it's fun. And it's also really great because we don't say, you know, ladies and gentlemen, we talk about leads and follows. So instead of being my gender, I am doing what I am as a dancer. I'm either leading or I'm following, and that makes it simplifies it, and it makes it a lot more fun.
We're not stuck fast to the traditional roles. Mainstream ballroom dancing is the last bastion of heterosexuality. You can choose the role that most suits you.
Teach me how to dance tonight. At least one step.
You know, I've seen you on TV a lot, and I was hoping that eventually some point you'd ask me that question. Okay. So watch me first, okay?
Okay.
Are you watching?
I'm watching.
Okay. Look at that. You're the greatest student. I swear.
I don't know about that.
You've already taken lessons from Not So Strictly Ballroom, I think. And there you have it, my friend. You've just danced the very standard rhythm of Latin dancing. So
I feel exhilarated, and I think I'm going to sign up.
Since the Gay Games offered dance sport, opened up to dance sport, there were 5 of us who competed in dance sport in Amsterdam, 3 of us who went to Sydney and danced. Now there's a couple who are going to Montreal. And I think we're going to see a lot more of it. And there's they just started in California same-sex dance competitions, and it's a possibility that next year we will offer a competition for worldwide for people here in Vancouver. Yeah.
The Grad You Never Had is not the only way you can get involved with Not So Strictly Ballroom. They offer social dances for new and experienced dancers. For more information, you can visit gayvancouver.net/NSSB. I'm Clayton Timko for The Express. Mexico gets a whole lot closer every second Wednesday of the month when Latin Divas takes over Celebrities Nightclub. Drag performer Jose works hard to create a comfortable space for Vancouver's Latin community.
This show, I started doing it because I wanted to have a Latin gay party in Vancouver that we didn't have before. And in Mexico, you know, we have these awesome drag queens. And I was like, maybe I can pull up something. So I was practicing with my makeup, and I was like, okay, I have to do something Latin, but good, really good. And I think we are having it now. A good Latin power that we are putting in Vancouver.
Transforming into Penelope isn't just about the physical. For Jose, it's a chance to bring to life a side of his personality that's best expressed on stage.
I have to start like thinking like a girl and take my female side inside out.
Tonight is very special since Jose is not performing alone. His partner of 12 years has joined him for a duet.
This is a very, very good song. It always says that people shouldn't be, you shouldn't worry about what people think about you, about your relationship and about who you are. So this is all about, this is the song that we're gonna perform. And this is the first time we're doing it together, so it's gonna be good.
Partial proceeds from tonight go to Legit, a non-profit organization that's important to Jose and Jorge.
Jose and I came into Vancouver, into Canada, and they help us to go through the process of immigration. So it is important to us because we made great friends there. They help us through the process, and we made it thanks to them.
Speaking of divas, come down to Darby's Pub on 4th and McDonald on Friday, April 20th at 8 p.m. for an evening of entertainment.
Angels for Africa is a Vancouver-based Lilith fair with a selection of amazing bands, as well as Luscious Dance, which is Vancouver's hottest pole dancer group. It's turning out to be an amazing event with a lot of excitement and entertainment. The event is to raise money. I am going with a group of 16 people to Africa to build houses for homeless children in Swaziland. People don't understand the devastating effects of AIDS in Swaziland. It's the highest in the world.
What's the best nation in the world? Donation. Come down to Darby's Pub on Friday, April 20th and help make a real difference in the fight against AIDS. I'm Marnie Maines for The Express.
Come on, baby. Come on now. Come on now.
Can you help me? I need to meet someone.
Leaping Thespians is a women's theater company bringing stories of lesbian lives to Vancouver audiences. Their latest play, Women for Women, taps into the growing trend towards online dating.
Are you flirting with me?
It started off, it didn't really have anything to do with computers. It was about that idea of we meet somebody, we get really infatuated, we fall in love, but what exactly are we falling in love with?
Online dating has become much more mainstream over the last 5 years. Director Karen White wanted to explore how does chemistry happen with a love interest when the two people haven't even met.
I think for most people, it happens before you really know the person. You know, how did it happen with pen pals 100 years ago or something? And then sort of bring it forward to today, where you get to represent yourself almost in 3 dimensions on the computer screen. And so someone sees you online and is attracted. Well, what are they attracted to? They have to know that's not the whole person, it's just what you choose to present. And yet people that you talk to fall deeply in love online.
When you see someone you're attracted to coming towards you, don't look away. Touch the tip of your tongue over your lip.
For longtime member and actor Taylor Studgebury, the group gives a platform to see women's stories.
The first scene is basically, it's her scene with Lucy. So it's about her exploring, okay, what do I need to learn in terms of how to meet somebody? How do I need to be sexy? Because that's part of, she's cognizant of the fact that she needs to be sexy and appealing to people. For me, it's writing from your own experiences. It's talking to other people and hearing their stories. So everything that I put into whatever I write is I've either experienced it myself or I've heard it from somebody else, so I'm helping them put their stories out there. There's very few theater groups anywhere and very few playwrights that focus more of their work and their time and their energy on women's stories. So let's actually build more of that out there.
The play is unique in the way that much of what you see is not actually happening in the same location.
Yeah, it was kind of interesting because it felt really important that this big chunk of the play takes place in cyberspace. So people are just looking at their monitors and talking into their webcam, and the people never touch. And so we had to, it was a challenge to make the blocking interesting. So you feel that people are close to each other, people are far away, that kind of thing is naturally going on, but they can never touch. So it was great fun working out how to do the love scenes.
It's not too late to log on or get online with the Leaping Thespians. Their play Women for Women will be competing at Theatre BC's Zone Festival May 2nd at White Rock's Coast Capitol Playhouse. I'm Clayton Timko for The Express. The Harry Jerome Center played host this week to the league, who promotes a positive and inclusive environment that focuses on volleyball play, fitness, and most of all, lots of fun.
I enjoy volleyball a lot, and I've played since I was in high school, so
and it adds a lot of competitiveness, because I play in a competitive division, to my life, and I just love sports. I moved here about 4 years ago from a small community up north in British Columbia here. I just went online and I checked to see if they had a gay volleyball league I wanted to join.
One of the reasons why Sean feels so at home with the VGVA is because of their inclusiveness.
Everybody's just so friendly. Even on the board, all the board members, everybody's friendly, everybody wants to help out, and we just get out there and just play volleyball.
No one feels uncomfortable at VGVA. We make it's actually in policy that there is a zero tolerance for poor sportsmanship. Everybody at VGVA can be who they are and doesn't have to worry about their sexuality or about being out.
Sean plays in the competitive league, but still finds time to assist and mentor others.
A lot of these guys are beginner volleyball players who've actually never touched a volleyball before, and we're actually teaching them how to play as a team, and to play different positions and things like that. And it's just amazing, some of these teams out here today who've never played in a tournament before, and how well they're doing.
Although there are players of both intermediate and competitive skill levels, what's most important for Sean and his team members is their ability to work well together in achieving their goals.
We actually work very well, and there's not just one person guiding everybody, we actually guide each other. And that's what I enjoy about this, is that there's not one person who's outstanding on your team. It's actually 6 players out there who do well and play at a strong level.
Sean is great to play with. He's very encouraging on the court. He's very positive. He interacts with his team quite well. He's a team player who calls the ball, never negative towards another player if a ball is missed. He always kind of knows what's going on, knows what to expect, and he's very fun to play with. Coming out and playing with all of these people is so much fun, and you make so many good friends that you have something in common with, and it's just a great place to be.
My day is spent at the volleyball gym all day, and I enjoy everything about it. I enjoy the team aspect of playing and meeting everybody every week, the same faces and things like that, and just getting out there and enjoying the day.
Sean shows us that winning can be great, but sometimes the rewards of just simply being on the team can be even greater. I'm Clayton Timko for The Express.
What do you do for sun in Vancouver at that time of the year when it rains, and rains?
Hide away and watch movies.
Go to the mall. I'm on TV.
I don't do anything. I'm totally inactive when it rains.
We're going to Maui next week for 2 weeks.
I drink lots of beer.
Well, this is where I like to be to get my source of vitamin D, but I still got a lot of questions for the manager, so I'm just going to finish up here.
Outside, there are no controls. Inside, we control everything. When you're tanning outside, there are so many variables that you have to deal with. There's the wind that keeps you cool. There's cloud cover, which can inhibit it or make it stronger. With all these variables, you don't feel anything till the next day. So when you leave the beach that day, you think you got a great tan, but when you wake up the next morning, you can be burnt. Inside, we control everything. And when you walk into our doors, depending on your skin type, your hair color, what heritage you are, we'll let you know what type of bed you should be using and how many minutes you should be going in for. We control everything.
In a standard lay-down bed, did you know that you are tanning 2 to 3 layers of skin and therefore a long-lasting tan?
It's all about building up resistance without getting hurt. As soon as your skin is hurt with a bit of a sunburn to it, it will not tan. Skin that is sunburnt has been damaged and will not tan. It's an old wives' tale that you have to get a good burn to get a good tan. It just doesn't work that way. It's all about building up resistance at a slow rate, and as soon as you start building up resistance, we add more time, do it slowly and do it properly, and then we'll get it done right.
So, as we all know, skincare is very important when we tan. Tell me a little bit about how people should be taking care of their skin.
Okay. When you're tanning inside, indoor lotions are really important. When your skin is properly hydrated by using a lotion, it tans easier. When skin is properly hydrated, it absorbs UV more efficiently and more evenly.
So if you're completely oblivious as to what kind of skin type you are, what should you do?
Well, the best thing to do would be to come in and see one of our tanning consultants. We have a chart that labels all the different skin tones from the very, very lightest, fairest milk complexion up to the very darkest. So it can help you in either on the indoor tanning spectrum, or even if you were to go outside in helping you to pick out a proper SPF, we can help you along those lines.
So if you'd like to get your tanning package organized, just stop by Pacific Suncoat right on Davie Street, because sun is fun and fun is in the sun. I'm Linda Stang for The Express. Aloha!
The Dr. Peter Center at 1110 Comox Street is the only HIV/AIDS day health program and 24-hour care residence in BC. This kind of care would not be possible without volunteers.
Volunteers have a considerable impact on the Dr. Peter Center. As a nonprofit society, we simply could not operate without volunteer support.
One of the areas volunteers are helping out in is in the kitchen at lunch.
It's a wonderful place to be. It's a matter of, getting to know the participants, knowing them by name, making a connection with them, and letting them know that you're here because you want to be, and that you actually care about them is the biggest part of my role as a volunteer. I come from a small community. I grew up in that environment as a child, and that's where you learn a sense of community. And people just do it as part of who they are, and I think living in a large urban center, we tend to lose sight of that.
Dawn is only one of 100 dedicated volunteers that make the center such a special place for the community. After lunch, another volunteer, Brad, is upstairs hosting the ever-popular weekly bingo.
N35. I really like calling bingo. It's closer to the end, especially on the full house when you have to get the whole card. It gets sort of suspenseful. I try to slow down the calling of numbers a little bit so that people are kind of on the edge of their seats, and then just like the thrill of having them win, just being happy and the smile on their face. It's just really rewarding to me. Under the N39. Volunteers are kind of like the glue that makes things stay together. I mean, a lot of organizations, say the Dr. Peter Center for sure, they get donations and some funding, but you need a lot of people to run a center like this. There's a lot that goes on, and not everyone can be paid. So volunteers are kind of the people that fill in those gaps and make things work.
The service by these volunteers doesn't go unnoticed.
Volunteers provide about 4,500 hours per year of service. That is almost the equivalent of 3 full-time staff. That translates into a significant amount of finances that we simply don't have.
I'm so blessed to have the talented and wonderful people who come and bring their experiences and their compassion and are so willing to give their time. And they're just amazing people. They're all unique and they're all wonderful, and it just stokes my day.
Those benefiting from the Dr. Peter Center are forever grateful to its volunteers. Not only do they provide service, but they also offer their friendship. I'm Clayton Timko for The Express. Since same-sex marriage was legalized in Canada in 2003, the gay community has been looking for people to help plan their weddings. This led to the birth of 2 deers and a queer.
I love doing weddings. The idea of doing same-sex weddings to me was an absolute dream, an absolute passion of mine. That legislative change really launched our business. We get a lot of bookings because of our name, quite frankly. We get people that say, oh, we just loved your name. You instantly connect with couples. We're doing pretty much 99.9% of our business overseas and out of town. There's just a reassurance and extra safety for them that when they come to Vancouver, that they're going to have a positive and an enjoyable experience, not have to worry about being discriminated against or people frowning upon them for being gay.
Great wedding planners don't just work alone. Often they enlist the help of those who are experts in their field. One of those experts that Daryl relies on is here at Upright Decor.
There's so many elements to a beautiful, wonderful wedding. A wonderful place like this, like a decor and design place, you can incorporate beauty and elegance and style and design and decor into your ceremony and into your reception. I always call it the wow factor, that you want people to come into your ceremony and to come into your reception and go, wow.
I'm really enjoying this table, but how did you come across putting all of this together?
Sure. Well, this table we did a little bit more masculine, and it has chocolate brown and the jet black features on it with silver accents. So you try to do a lot of layering on top. So you do a great table linen, you can do a runner over top, and then add charger plates and all kinds of things on top. So gay marriages are still quite new for us too. Guys that are coming or women that are coming to us to be married, they're still trying to get over that whole, okay, do I have to decorate for my wedding? They quite often have all kinds of different ideas, something that's more personal to themselves regarding what they like and the colors that they want to choose. And quite often for the guys, they sometimes want something very masculine. They don't want that girly kind of look to it. Sometimes what we found with the women is that they quite often like to be downplayed a little bit. They don't want quite so much of the decor. Whereas guys, they always like to do it up for some reason.
One of the greatest challenges facing gay marriages today is, where do you find a same-sex cake topper?
What happens is everybody sells and packages a bride and a groom. So initially we would take the package and take our shears and sort of cut up the packages, buy 2 packages, and put the bride, the groom and the bride together. But they never really quite fit right. And I urge any company to please in Vancouver to stock same-sex wedding toppers, because at this point I still have yet to find one. So if you're a company out there that is stocking and selling same-sex wedding toppers, please call me.
If you've recently been engaged and you're feeling overwhelmed about upcoming nuptials, as you've just seen, you can leave it in the hands of Daryl and his team of professionals. I'm Clayton Timko for The Express.
From just some dumb mechanic's wife, I'm gonna be singing. Roxy! Yeah!
Sassy, stylish, funny, and always fabulous, drag queens have been entertaining Vancouver audiences for years.
And who in case she doesn't hang, everybody right!
Recently, the Shooting Stars Foundation brought together some of the best female impersonators for a show entitled Fit for a Queen, hosted by local celebrity Joan E.
Welcome everyone to the 6th annual Fit for a Queen.
The great thing about this show is that this goes back into this community. It goes to, we're the ones who started raising money, for example, for AIDS charities. Nobody started for us. It was people like us and Queens and Friends of Queens that did it, and so we're happy to do it. There are fiscally wonderfully responsible organizations that the Shooting Stars Foundation distributes its money to. For example, the Dr. Peters Center, McLaren Housing, Loving Spoonful, and they are all wonderful charities, so for us it makes sense. I mean, not that other charities aren't wonderful, but there's a lot of people that do a lot of charity work for a lot of organizations, and these ones are specific to our community.
For Iona Whip, who performs regularly at the Odyssey nightclub, Fit for a Queen is more than just another drag show.
I think just in the last year they gave almost $100,000 away to local AIDS charities. And as a member of the gay community, that's so important to be able to give back.
Popular, you're gonna be popular.
This being my 4th year, things are always and ever changing. You know, it's real live theater. It's for a different audience than we're used to performing for. And, you know, it's just great to see what everyone comes up with. You need to give them great songs, great outfits, like high hair. They're expecting big jewels. You got to give them everything that they want.
Every man I love is either married, gay, or dead.
Fit for a Queen, which just put on its 5th annual show, is held at the Stanley Theatre and therefore attracts audience members who may not typically go to a drag show and gives them an opportunity to dress up.
We think it's awesome. We're just having fun and coming out and being a part of, and yeah.
It's our opportunity to dress up, right?
Absolutely.
It's our one chance we can get away with it, so.
I am 75 years old and this is my first drag show.
Fit for a Queen is just one of the many events put on by the Shooting Stars Foundation. Do not miss the next one, called Gambado, on September 20th. Like tonight's extravaganza, it is sure to sell out. I'm Kendall Harris for The Express.
The Rainbow Concert Band is based in Vancouver and was formed in 1990, shortly after the Gay Games. For longtime member Joanne Merritt, it's a place where she can just be herself.
Band for me growing up in high school and post-high school was a big thing for me growing up, and all of a sudden there's a gay and lesbian band, but not just gay and lesbian, but for everybody. And I thought, hey, I can do my music now. I can do it in a group where I feel like I can be myself, where if I want to come out as a lesbian, I can be, you know, comfortable in doing it, and I'm with peers and other people that enjoy doing the same thing as me.
The music that is chosen may not always be traditional band music, but that's okay. The point is that everyone has fun.
Who do you know actually goes to a band concert? I mean, there's very few people. So what we try to do is make a variety show. And so we'll play any genre that there's music available. So we've gone right from disco, 80s pop,
70s stuff. We try to do a little bit of it's.
Yeah, and there's lots of classical band arrangements, you know, of classical piece. So we throw some of those in too. So we try to just hit anything and everything we can. You know, and we're supposed to march in the parades. Well, we try to, you know, who's got band marching music? No. Or who's interested in that? No. So we'll play a disco tune while we're sashaying down the street. You know, so we try to make it accessible, fun, put a few serious pieces in to try to get us to play better, and that, you know, just to challenge us. But, you know, we'll try to have fun.
All the band members have worked very hard to perfect their part of the ensemble, but one member with his extensive experience has arranged a special medley that we're hearing tonight.
Well, it is a pleasure for me to write for the band, and this medley makes part from this what I made, what I wrote for the band. I like because it is a good band, you know, they are reading very well at sight and they are playing very well, and we have a few soloists here which are very good.
For Corneliu, the band provides more than just a place to play his music.
I like to be in a, how shall I say it, I become young again, you know, because I'm 80 years old. Yes.
I would have never guessed.
Thank you. Very kind.
If you play a woodwind, brass, or percussion instrument and can read music, then get those instruments out of the closet. For more information on how you too can get involved with the Rainbow Band, you can check out their website. I'm Clayton Timko for The Express. Sometime in the 70s, the Kamrudin family brought their optical trade and expertise from Africa to the West End. And today, sisters Azra and Anar have found ways to keep strong ties with the community.
We wanted to do something for Pride, and we thought, well, we can have a showcase and we can have all the, the rainbow and all the stuff that everybody else does. But we thought that having it a bit more personal, that it would be really good to really hear what people have to say about Pride.
The contest has become an important platform for people of all ages and backgrounds to share a piece of their life.
You get a mixture of everything that what a person goes through. Oftentimes it's the same sort of theme, of the struggles, of the happiness, of the exhilaration, of the loneliness. And it makes me sort of reiterate that we have to do this every single year.
For Leo, being part of the Abasa team definitely has its rewards.
One of the big things for me working here is just the environment, and all of us, we work together, we try, and we all have all the same goals that we want to achieve, and I think that's a big one. I think also just being able to be a part of the community, to be part of Davie Village. Things like our contest and what Pride means to you, everything on a daily basis, we really try and give back as much as we possibly can, because without the community, we wouldn't be here right now.
Since the Pride contest originated here at the Davie location in 2001, the Abasa team has come across so many memorable, touching, and unique stories.
There was one, and it's probably the shortest one that we have gotten, and it's the one about, I believe that he's straight, this man, and he has a brother and a sister who are both gay. And the brother has died, and his sister is still very much part of the gay community, and how he's so very proud of that. And for him, this is not just about 1 or 2 days, it's about 365 days a year. And I think that, to me, was probably one of the more touching ones. It's really hard to pick, because I would say every one of them has their own story, but that one has resonance for me.
And so, what does Pride mean to you?
Fun, frivolity, and decadence.
For me, I'm a father, so that's really important. So being a Pride dad is really cool.
Pride means celebrating our individuality and our diversity in the community.
Means please release inhibitions during event.
It's just a place where you can go and totally be yourself.
Pride means loving yourself.
What does Pride mean to you? I guess that's your answer.
Pride to me is all the advancements that have happened just in our own society with, gay marriage and being able to be a partner, a real partner. I think that's what Pride means to me.
So remember, you only have until July 31st for your chance to connect with the community and tell them what Pride really means to you personally. Forms can be picked up at Abasa's downtown or Cloverdale locations, or you can check out their website. I'm Clayton Timko for The Express.
Oh my God, that looks so good. I know. Nom, nom, nom.
The Annex restaurant in Gastown is an up-and-coming gem in Vancouver's culinary scene. One of the restaurant's co-owners, Glennis McLeod, wanted to create a place where everyone knows your name.
It was really important for us to have a place where anybody felt comfortable, gay, lesbian, etc., you name it. Just a place where they could walk in, see us, be comfortable with it. We wanted it to be a place that was like Cheers. That's what we said right away when we were planning the place, that we wanted it to be where anybody came in, we knew them and they were comfortable coming back anytime.
We didn't feel like there was a place in our community that was like this. And definitely the feedback we've gotten from people is the same, that especially for women, like there's a few bars, but there's not really a comfortable sit-down place that you can go if you don't feel like dancing and you don't feel like the loud music. And that's a comfortable setting for you to, take a date to for dinner or, go to for lunch or whatnot.
Jackie, Lisa, and Glennis use only fresh ingredients and strive to make their menu inclusive to people's unique dietary needs.
Thank you. We did a special dish up for Linnea there, being a gluten-free diet that she has, so we always have corn tortillas on hand for people that won't eat that. Any of the soups that we do during the day, there's no fake stock in there. It's not full of salt. We make soups from scratch. We make all our muffins and baking items from scratch. We've been told our brownies are better than sex. I don't make them personally. You name it, we have something around that we'll be happy to put together for you.
Not only is the food all natural and tastes incredible, but the design and ambiance of the restaurant gives its visitors a unique Vancouver experience.
At the Annex, we have local artists put their art on our walls because we like to have some color and style to the walls. This particular art that's up here right now is a friend of ours, and we like to support local artists in our community. We have a small stage here, and the acoustics in this place are wicked because of the bouncing off of the bricks in the wall there. We have a system set up already and some mics, so people come in with their bands, they'll come in with drums and guitars and whatever else they put together.
I'm here, Monday to Saturday, day in, day out, and I love it. It's the opportunity to do something on your own finally, and being a little stubborn, being able to actually do your own thing and challenge yourself, and it's been really good for myself personally.
So come on down to the Annex restaurant at 307 West Cordova Street near Cambie and savor what these three divas are dishing up. I'm Clayton Timko for The Express. The sunny beach weather marks the start of gay pride events in most major cities across the world. Bill Mantis and his travel show Pink Planet chronicle some of the adventures and hotspots to be had in these cities.
Pink Planet is a look at gay life in cities around the world, and usually we visit a city in and around an event. So we go to Gay Rodeo in Calgary, we go to Christopher Street Day in Zurich, we go to Gay Ski Week in Whistler. And it's a chance to explore not only the event that takes place in the city, but we look at gay life, the gay neighborhood, its gay history, what the people are like, where to stay, what to do.
Puerto Vallarta's Blue Chairs Beach Resort is like a virtual oasis for gay and lesbian travelers. Bill agrees that the community needs these spaces to flourish.
Gay and lesbian travelers want to go places where they can be natural and not inhibited, where you can go to the beach and hug your partner or kiss your partner and it's not a big deal. And that's just asking to be treated like everybody else.
When it's hot out, Vancouver beaches like English Bay and the ever-popular nude Wreck Beach are the happening hangouts to soak up the rays. In his travels, Bill came across another hotspot in a very unlikely location.
We are on our way to Vert Insel or Vert Island. Now this is an unofficial or wild gay beach. It's basically a spot gays and lesbians have claimed as their own, and it's also clothing optional.
I was not going to jump. Ja, das ist die Wertinsel hier in Zürich und ja, das ist eine freie Body, wie das hier in Zürich heißt, ein Schwimmbad. Ja, und da kommt man recht regelmäßig, denke ich, so als Schwuler hier hin, um sich einfach auszuruhen, zu relaxen.
Every time we travel somewhere, I learn a lot, and I like to share that with the audience. So I want to know about the gay history in this destination. I want to know what the gay neighborhood is like, if it's safe. I want to know what the nightlife is like. I want to know what the beach is like. It all really comes from my own curiosity about the destination.
Although the show travels to many glamorous and tropical locations, it's not all just about fun in the sun.
Gay and lesbian tourists were the first to return to New Orleans and to that ravaged region. So we can really proud of the fact that as gay tourists, we tend to go to places where our dollars, the dollars that we spend when we visit, go to a good cause. And it was really exciting to see people from all over the country coming to New Orleans because they wanted to help rebuild the city. And you can really do that through tourism because you're going there and you're staying in hotels and you're eating there and you're drinking there and you're spending your money and you're shopping, and that's the best way that you can help a city like New Orleans.
So here's your chance to travel the world by catching Bill's show every Friday night on City TV. And hopefully you might just learn something as well. I'm Clayton Timko for The Express.
The logo of the store is to save the humans, and saving the humans is huge. And how do we save the humans? We're saving everything else, the trees, the whales, everything. But the humans really do need to come first. And with sexual diseases, with overpopulation on the planet, those were just a few reasons why we felt that a very creative, dynamic, happy, safe zone would be created, and this is what you're standing in 15 years later.
So Carol, it is important then that we use condoms to prevent sexually transmitted diseases, viruses, HIV, and AIDS.
Absolutely, and that the condom is used every time. It's not a hit and miss thing, and that's why having variety. When you have a choice and variety, you feel happy using a condom. For a lot of individuals, they see condoms just in a box, in a square cardboard box. Here, everything is out of the box, so to speak, in thinking.
Is there an expiry date on condoms?
Every condom, and the condoms are medical devices. So with the medical device, the expiry date is on each and every condom. This is 2011. 2011. That long before you'd get lucky?
Well, you know, I wouldn't be laughing there, Carol. What type of lube do you use for what condom?
Well, the most important part of the lube is that you definitely want a water-soluble product. The condoms cannot come up against oil. They will start to disintegrate. So using any old thing you might have in the refrigerator, thanks but no thanks, that doesn't work. Maybe for lunch, yes. As far as the flavors go, we choose products with no glycerin. Glycerin has sugar in it. We don't want sugar in the body zones. That creates bacteria and germs, and it's not a good thing. When the condom enters the body starts drying very, very quickly to try and stop the foreign object. That's why added lube is extremely necessary. It's not a luxury.
Carol's unique philosophy to safe sex is to take a subject that is often stigmatized and bring the human element back into it.
With all the displays and the cute colors, the flavors, what we've tried to do here in Rubber Rainbow is to bring back the innocence into relationships and to hold on to the innocence as people are sexually maturing and become more empowered without losing the innocence.
Well, thank you so much, Carol. It's been a real treat. And for those of you out there that want to stop by and stock up, the Rubber Rainbow Condom Company is located on the corner of Barclay and Denman. I'm Linda Stang for The Express, and that's a wrap. I mean, condoms, of course.
Pride Society goes back to 29 years of history, and that history is as simple as looking at the oppression, the hate, the things that we've had to overcome in 29 years. And if we take it for granted, those freedoms, those rights, those liberties that we do have can disappear. And so we're a bit of a reinforcement on that, but at the same time, we want to make sure that we educate the public. Pride in the City actually is exactly that. It's a look at our past. That's why a few of the representatives from the Vancouver Pride Society were in New York, taking in New York Pride, visiting Stonewall, seeing our history, seeing how it all came together some 33 years ago, and really getting a grasp as to what it means to have a basis for pride. Pride in this city is a representation of where the world can be, and we hope that people come to the city and share in that experience.
Tell me a bit about the volunteers, and from my understanding, none of the volunteers are paid.
Oh no, this is a completely voluntary working board, as well as when we put on all of our events, all the volunteers that come out from around our community that help us put these on. So there's no paid staff. We have a couple of people who help out during the summer, but that's about it. We've already started planning our 30th anniversary.
Well, a lot of people ask us why we still need to have a Pride Parade, because here in Vancouver and Canada, as GBLT people, we are afforded so many great rights. But there's so many people around the world who are not. And so our battle is also to fight for them and to keep the battle going. And, you know, even in our own city, there's still things that happen in our community that people still need support for. So we are doing this not only for ourselves and the pride in our own city, but pride around the world to try and keep this alive and keep this movement going.
And things like kids having to commit suicide because they have nowhere to go, they have no understanding, they have no support, persons who are beat up on the streets just for being gay, people not being able to walk down the street hand in hand to express their own sexuality. Education breaks down those homophobia barriers, and that's part of what Vancouver Pride Society is. So is our job done? It's never done.
So if you're looking for more information on Pride in the City, you can log on to vancouverpride.ca. I'm Linda Stang for The Express.
Although being gay in society is more accepted, it's still a problem in our high schools. Ross Johnstone is hoping Out in Schools can change just that.
Out in Schools is a way to reach high school students and talk to them about homophobia, bullying, sexuality in general. It's filling a gap that is currently in the curriculum. So what we do is we bring films, queer-themed films, out to the high schools that we think are suitable for youth audiences, and we follow them up with a discussion, facilitated discussion about the topics in the films, about the characters in the films, and just some of the larger topics at hand right now.
He's a bit of a queer and he wants to be a transsexual. So, to be honest, I don't like him, never did. Hello.
The discussions are assisted by various student-produced films that are allowing youth to speak out and be heard.
They deserve to respect, and it just kind of bugs me when people are kind of mean about things like homosexuality. People need to see what it's like for these people. These kids who have to go through this every day.
Get your hands off me, How are you doing, Bodie?
The statistics are still enormously much higher for queer youth when it comes to things like suicide rates and substance abuse as a result of depression and ostracization. So the fact that those elements are still out there means that there's still a lot of work to be done. So when I head out to the high schools and I see smart, smiling faces that for some reason aren't living up to their potential because of something as simple as their sexual orientation, then I feel that we can really make a difference there.
A sense of isolation and low self-esteem can be some of the feelings felt by gay teens who want to come out but fear what their peers may think. The Out in Schools discussion group can help give that someone a little bit more extra confidence and make them feel like they're not alone.
Many more youth are now starting to get more active in their community. They're starting to meet other queer youth or other like-minded youth from other parts of the city that they might not otherwise meet. They're getting active in volunteerism. They're getting active in organizations, in youth drop-ins, and all sorts of community activities where they're meeting positive role models. They're meeting positive people that are part of this community, and they're feeling better about themselves and realizing they're not alone. In fact, there's a huge community of folks their age that are willing to get involved like them.
Ross is excited about the future for Out in Schools and the significance it will play in the BC school curriculum.
This year, we're looking to develop our curriculum initiative, and what we're trying to do is write curriculum for Planning 10 classes, which is a mandatory class for all students in British Columbia, and have that approved by the ministry so that by 2008, Out in Schools will be a permanent fixture within the Planning 10 curriculum.
As we begin a new school year, let's make going back to school a positive experience for everyone, regardless of our differences. For more information on the Out in Schools program, you can check out their website. I'm Clayton Timko for The Express.
Aiden Gallery, formerly located in Tinseltown, is on the move this summer. One location you should not miss is at the Chapel in East Vancouver, where local artist Christian Adam was exhibiting his recent works.
Ultimately, I want to share ideas with people and get ideas from them in return. And I just find manifesting my ideas and my imagination is basically helping me as a human being just to evolve, basically, and evolve rapidly and be open-minded to new things.
For Christian, his art is a vehicle in self-awareness and discovery. Each of Christian's paintings feature whimsical creatures and are inspired by unlikely sources.
I'm inspired by biology of humans and metaphysics. Kind of where I get my energy from when I paint comes from different types of, art that I'm exposed to, and artists and their ideas, and as well as music. It's probably like a main kind of driving force for kind of the energy that I get for when I paint.
This absolutely free event doesn't just feature the amazing works of Christian Adam. We bring you Jordan Bent.
This show has been really a very, very transitional show for me because I started this show based on this large 5x7 canvas, which was a commission. And then after this piece was completed, which took about a month, it was a pretty intense time. It was done, I was like, whew, and then I had to outflow for this show. And then that's what's happened with the rest of the works in this show. And it was like taking this style that I did with this and then just extending it into the ideas of the warrior, the telephone poles, the three-headed birds, just personal mythology.
Meticulously detailed, each painting fantastically tells its own story.
The crow is really beautiful because the crow is like the watcher. It's like the silent sort of observer. When things are really rough and we're having these amazing dramatic stories in our thoughts and we're going through transitions and we're dynamic creatures, but you never notice like when you stand and you stop and you're like, the world is intense.
Yeah.
You look up at the sky and there's this crow standing in this tree and he's just like watching you.
Yeah.
They're just silent. It's like they seem to know more than you and it's beautiful. And it changes things, you know? Like you're like, okay, maybe things are okay.
The chapel, located here at Cordova and Dunlevy, is fast becoming a mecca for the arts in Vancouver. For other locations of Aiden Gallery, please visit aidengallery.com. I'm Marnie Maines for The Express.
I have had art in my family pretty much since I was a little kid. My grandparents knew how to oil paint and watercolors, all that kind of stuff. My father was in landscaping. He did all his own blueprints, and I have an aunt who works with pen and ink. And
there are many kinds of artists in the world, but for Justina, being a tattoo artist was a natural choice.
I actually used to be a veterinary technician, and I tattooed dogs and cats for a living, as well as like some minor surgeries, all that kind of stuff. And I got bored one day, decided to bring the tattoo machine home, and I tattooed myself. And I was actually pretty good at it, so I was like, wow, this is really cool, and I've always been an artist. I took off to Paris and met a tattoo artist there, and she kind of taught me the rest of what I didn't know. And then I came back and set up shop pretty much.
Most of Justina's work is done by freehand, but sometimes she uses a stencil to get it just right.
For large, very straight pieces, like this column that I'm doing, I did do a stencil because I need to do the exact same thing on the other side. When you place it on the skin, we use a solution that actually absorbs the carbon that was on the stencil and it puts it onto the skin.
It's not just getting a tattoo that brings loyal clients like Charles back time and time again, but a careful attention to detail that Justina always provides.
She's amazing. I can't say enough about her. She's amazing at what she does. She has such soft hands. When she does my back or my arms or anywhere, I fall asleep. And well, to me, she's my queen of ink, so I'll come back to her anytime.
Sometimes I feel like a bartender. Sometimes I feel like a shrink. But for the most part, I actually get to be friends with these people because it's a very intimate connection that you have with somebody.
Justina takes great pride in her work because she understands the significance it can play in someone's life.
I'm 26 years old. It took me a long time to think about what I wanted, and to represent my life, my family, what means the most to me, and that I'm going to have on my body for the rest of my life. So that's all because of her. She's amazing. So that's about it.
Justina, how do you respond to that?
Wow. That's one of the reasons why I love being a tattoo artist, is you get to mark like great points in people's lives. Yeah.
So if you're like me and you've never had anything like this done before, there's no need to worry. You're definitely in good hands with Justina and her team of experts. You can check out Liquid Amber Tattoo. They're located on Burrard Street in the West End. I'm Clayton Timko for The Express.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Majestic.
Wednesday nights are still one of the most popular nights of the week on Davie Street, now that Bingo for Life has found its new home at the Majestic. For hostess Joni, the event has become a staple in the community that she's proud to be a part of.
There's so many charity events you do where only partial proceeds go, like you might go to a party where only $5 of a $100 ticket may go. This is a place where all your money is going to the charity. Also, it's something where you can donate what you can afford. You can come here and donate $1, or you can come here and donate $1,000. It's entirely up to you, and everyone gets a fair chance of the winning. It's non-threatening. It's an atmosphere where gay, straight, bisexual, transgender, black, white, Asian, and Caucasians can mix and match and have a good time. It's also nice to be able to go out in Vancouver for a nightclub sort of feel without having booming music or having to worry about, what you're going to talk about with people, because you could just play bingo. 10:31.
To date, Bingo for Life has raised well over $200,000 for the Friends for Life Society. But as Joni is quick to point out, that kind of total could not be possible without the countless support of many donors and volunteers.
Sponsors and volunteers are crucial, because the way bingo is created in this bingo is that it would be impossible to do without them. We don't give away money, so we rely on sponsors to give us prizes that are graciously donated from the businesses in the Vancouver area. And then the volunteers come down, and because of them, we don't have to pay people to do it, so that all of the money can go to the charity.
Joni and her counterpart, Justine Time, keep the evening alive with jokes and their hijinks.
I long for the day where we don't need to do AIDS charities anymore. I would love to hear it's solved, it's cured. The ones who've been living and struggling and suffering with illness, they're cured as well, and then I will never have to do another bingo again. Well, then we might just do it for fun.
On your mark, get set, go!
Oh my goodness.
In a city where there seems to be a different fundraising walk every week, what difference will one more stroll around Stanley Park make?
Well, all monies raised from the walk go directly to people living with HIV and AIDS. For BCPWA ourselves, this is our major fundraiser for our complementary health program. HIV in North America was predominantly a gay disease that affected gay men, but the infection rates in the heterosexual community have risen steeply over the last few years. In fact, women made up a very small percentage of HIV infections in the early years, and now it's over 20%.
I look forward to seeing you at the AIDS Walk, and remember, if you can't make it, let your fingers do the walking. Click onto bcpwa.org and click on the red ribbon and make a generous donation. This year's Vancouver International Film Festival is going to be another great success as the film festival grows and gains more prestige every year. Festival director Alan Freeney says never before has it been a better time to be an independent filmmaker.
Liberated by the new digital technology, a lot of filmmakers are doing quite personal work and films that are political in nature, but right there, that take you to the place, get you behind the headlines. If a filmmaker has passion and has intelligence, they can produce a film that will be discovered by programmers, and a film that's very personal can have a universal resonance and discover an audience, which is a wonderful thing. That's what art's for.
Hollywood might spend millions of dollars telling their stories, but if you're a very talented director, producer, and writer, you too can tell your stories on a very low budget. And that's just exactly what Gwen Hallworth did in her story, She's a Boy I Knew.
I made this purposely on a DIY, no budget sort of basis, because what I want to do was make a film where a lot of people can walk away from it saying, you know what, I could probably do that. And I hope a lot of people do, because I really believe that we need to see a lot more of different people's voices in the director's chair. We need to see a lot more people from different marginalized communities in the director's chair. And I don't think we necessarily see that reflected all the time in the media, and I want to encourage that more. And that's a big part of what this film is about. It's about people from different backgrounds, different walks of life, getting out there, picking up a camera, and telling their stories.
I'm a woman trapped in a man's body. I hate that statement. It never fails to make me cringe. Perhaps because it's too close to home, because I spent most of my life trying to hide that part of myself.
I hid this for 23 years, consciously, and to come to a point where I'm not just talking about it, but I'm actually getting out there and advocating for trans people, it's pretty big for me. It's quite the 180 from where I was about 8 years ago. At the time, I only knew about more popular mainstream films like Boys Don't Cry and The Crying Game, which were a wonderful film and they bring a lot of awareness, but they don't necessarily bring a lot of confidence and comfort to families of people that are about to go through this. Community and family are so important, and whenever we can hold on to those things when we go through major social upheavals in our life, I think it's really important to have those so that when we're down or when we're fallen, that they're there to help us and their love is there. The second thing I want people to take away is that they too can make a film like this. It's a lo-fi DIY film, and I think we need to see more people from different communities, from different ethnicities, cultures, sexual, gender identity, whatnot, all taking the camera into their own hands and telling their stories personally. I'm dying to see more of that.
Sexy people, great movies. What more can you ask for? Check out the Vancouver International Film Festival running till October 6th. My name is Fred Camperman for The Express.
Fed up with the intolerance they witnessed and heard about in schools and in society, Carol and Norm decided they could wait no longer to pursue their goal of starting a gay and lesbian youth choir. And so, Glass was born.
Carol had been the victim of a hate crime not too long before we started the choir, and then there was an incident at our school as well. This is an idea that Carol had had for a long time, and she finally just got to the point where she couldn't not do this anymore, and so we started.
Every day is a step, though we may not know the reason just yet.
Singing is how we share our thoughts and our feelings with the general public. But for these kids, for a lot of them, this is the only really safe place that they have that they can be themselves.
The Glass Youth Choir is the first of its kind in North America. Although that is a good thing, being first had its challenges.
It was uncharted ground. Professionally speaking, colleagues of mine suggested that it wasn't a smart move to work with kids at this age and do controversial material like this, but in my heart I knew that this had to be done, and I saw kids that needed a place to go.
The choir is about more than just singing music, but making sure relevant world issues are heard loud and clear.
The text of the songs always has to come first. It has to speak to the kids, it has to speak to our audience, and the songs must be socially responsible, social justice. They must include areas that won't produce hatred or hate crimes, anti-homophobia, anti-poverty, anti-violence against women. We tackle everything controversial, poverty, religion, as a way of educating and sharing and talking about feelings.
Carol and Norm are very impressed with not only the choir's vocal ability, but with the people that they are becoming.
We see the results are so much more immediate than what we see in our day jobs. Teaching is an act of faith. You spend your 5 months with the kids, or a year in her case, and you send them off into the world and hope that they turn into good people. But we're able to see through the choir, we're able to see immediate change and an immediate effect, and it's just been a tremendous thing all along, and really, as I say, powerful.
We have singers, straight, gay, and non-identifying, that are here for all different reasons without financial or emotional support of their parents and families. And until there is no need for us to be here, we'll keep providing this place for them.
So if you're like me and you're inspired by the great sounds of the Glass Youth Choir, then come check them out every Thursday night during their rehearsal here at the West Burnaby United Church. I'm Clayton Timko for The Express. IDKE, also known as the International Drag King Community Extravaganza, is a group of drag kings, gender performers, and artists. For performer Caswell Van Dyke, it's also a chance to challenge where he fits in on the gender spectrum.
I won the Mr. Drag King Vancouver competition in 2005 and got a free trip to IDKE 7 in Winnipeg, and got to perform at the Dragdom there, and fell in love with the fact that I could go and talk to people that were very similar to me, who were female identified but technically transgendered, because we don't look like the average woman or the average man, and be able to talk about gender politics and drag kinging and race issues, and be able to just go out and have fun and perform on stage.
Showcasing the most talented drag king performers around and bringing them to Vancouver audiences is what IDK strives for. However, as performer Edward Malaprop points out, none of that would be possible without generous donations and community support.
Community involvement is actually really important, and especially in regards to sponsorship and donations, because it is a grassroots event, and so we're just a group of people who have come together and decided that this was a really important event that we wanted to see happen in Vancouver.
In addition to conferences and workshops, the performances are innovative and creative. And we all know that every boy loves sci-fi.
I've always loved the geeky characters, and I wanted to put something on stage that represented that, because you get a lot of the cool guys and the in-sync kind of masculinities, a lot of boy band stuff, and it was nice to just spice it up with some of that nerdy humor. To me personally, it's like expanded my view of gender and like just broadened it, and you know, there's so many different facets, and how silly it is too, like to have male and female, like, you know, just the products and just like marketing, and I notice that a lot more now. I feel more secure in my own identity too. It's just, I think it's really important to break down like barriers and just empower women, just show that masculinity isn't tied to a male body.
Not everyone fits so easily in the male and female roles that our society has created. Hopefully IDKE is the start of gender being more inclusive for everyone. I'm Clayton Timko for The Express. Since 1983, Davie Street's favorite bookstore, Little Sisters, has been serving Vancouver's LGBT community. Store manager Janine Fuller is proud to see what started off small become a recognized landmark in the city.
There was no queer bookstore in all of Vancouver, and very few in Canada, period. And it was really important that the bookstore opened, because you couldn't get access to these books unless you went to libraries or bookstores where they were hidden in strange sections, where you had to really be like a super sleuth to be able to find a gay book that was really by a gay writer. In the location on Thurlow Street, you had to walk up the stairs, and It was bombed 3 different times on 3 different occasions, you know. So those were times when, you know, a lot of homophobia, a lot of uncertainty about who and what we were as a community, not the same visibility as far as the public visibility in the media sense.
The importance of documenting queer stories is paramount to Janine.
There's so many people that come here as young people or as people who are coming out later in life. They're all going through similar struggles, and they're looking for books that are going to really empower them and engage them in understanding who they are in a world that isn't always supportive of who they are. So there's a lot of people who come from far away or short distances, and they land in the West End, and this is where they really find their feet and their balance and their sense of self, and we have to be here to support them and nurture them through all of that awareness and understanding.
Little Sisters has been involved in many social issues over the years, and in 2004, Janine was awarded an honorary law degree from SFU for her leading role in a historic legal battle against censorship in Canada.
I really think the recognition of me was really a recognition of a community through me, but I really think it's the community that received that award that day. And I think that the bookstore and all of our struggles around censorship, you know, it's been a really long, arduous, difficult battle, but, you know, we're committed. We know the reality of these books behind us. We know the importance of what these books are to our community, and we're committed to the history, the integrity, and the continued sensibility of making sure the books that are here really represent the diversity of the community that we are, and we are always evolving and becoming.
In the busy job market, so many of us don't even enjoy what we do. Janine isn't one of those people.
So many people talk about their jobs and go, oh, I really don't like my job, and I really love my job. I love the opportunity of the people that I meet, and I really get to understand such a different sense of life every single day. I open those doors, and I really never get tired of that.
After nearly 25 successful years, it's clear that this community wants Little Sisters Bookstore to be around for a very long time. There's really something here for everyone, so come check them out. They're located at 1238 Davie Street. I'm Clayton Timko for The Express.
You said she. You distinctly said she. I told you we don't want to know.
This hair salon by day and rehearsal space by night is alive with men. Some men, that is. Raving Theatre Artistic Director David Blue is thrilled to bring Terrence McNally's popular play about gay American life through the decades to Vancouver.
Terrence McNally is one of my favorite American playwrights, very prolific playwright, and he has written some amazing gay classics with Love, Valor, Compassion and Corpus Christi. I love his work, and this play is full of really rich characters, and I'm blessed with a wonderful cast.
Being in a David Blue production requires a lot of talent. Cast member Nelson Kyle proves this is true by taking on multiple roles.
Well, the play is a comedy, and it's based in New York and throughout different areas of New York, and it ranges over a period of time. So it's a series of gay stories between a number of relationships, between a number of characters. There's close to 60 characters in total in the play, and about 25 of them to 30 are speaking roles. My characters take place all the way from early 1940s, I believe, all the way to 2007.
New York, had a civil union in Vermont, and we got married in Toronto and Boston. We covered all our bases. You sort of have to with a kid.
This nonprofit company isn't just about showcasing any play. For David, encouraging and developing work with a gay point of view is what Raving Theatre is all about.
For Raving Theatre, I think the most important thing is actually the fact that it's either the queer content or queer friendly. Doing gay classics are really important to us. It's part of our history. You know, it's quite interesting looking at shows that were really cutting edge and pushing the boundaries 20 or 30 years ago, and looking at them now going, oh, isn't that cute?
Although the play is in its beginning phase of production, you can see that good chemistry is building between the cast.
We've just started the show. As you noticed, the cast are still on book. What I'm really impressed is, 4 of the actors in this show are straight out of the 9. Two of them seemed to have actually been in the first scene where they had to make out with each other, but they seemed to be fine with it, so.
Well, I'm looking forward to David's production company moving from this rehearsal space on Granville Street to the big stage on Granville Island. I'm Clayton Timko for The Express.
The whale! I was putting it up on the boat and the whale came and ate it.
Oh, you Just one big bite.
Every Wednesday night, the Jupiter Lounge on Butte Street plays host to Bob Loblaw Queer Comedy Troupe's improv comedy show, Tops and Bottoms. Tonight is a special fundraiser night for Gayway, an innovative health resource program for gay men.
Gayway is a very important space. We need more spaces where gay men can feel comfortable in, outside of the bar. Having a space that is only for gay men really gives out that message that gay men matter.
We're joined now with David C. Jones, executive producer of Tops and Bottoms and Bob Loblaw Queer Comedy Troupe. David, are you there? What first attracted you to improv, David?
Yes.
I understand you have a singles night at Tops and Bottoms. Have you met anyone?
The audience and teamwork.
David, we seem to be having a delay problem with the satellite. Would you mind moving a bit closer? Oh, there you are.
Hello.
Can you hear me now?
Almost.
Well, son, I told you not to go out in the trees in the...
The biggest thing that we're trying to do is present an opportunity for queer performers or queer people to tell their stories, be themselves, be celebrated on stage. We raise money for charity, but it's all about creating a great big family of performers and also doing it in a clean environment. The show is not crass, the show's about being clever, and that's what I love. It's a real family of performers that have come together.
One of the many ways to raise money for Gayway tonight is through the kissing booth. Looks like a lot of fun. Back off! For those unlucky few who didn't get lucky with me at the kissing booth, there was an opportunity to take their chances and bet on the ponies.
Okay, and they're off.
Number 2, come on!
Fundraisers are very important for community development in general. Gayway is a community-based space. It's a charity organization. We need money.
We are only as strong as the people who are involved, and we want you to get involved. We do workshops, we do meetings, we get more and more people involved all the time. Again, keep creating positive love, positive humor for the queer community.
So if you want to see some great comedy, come to the Jupiter Lounge Wednesday nights for Bob Loblaw Queer Comedy Troupe's Tops and Bottoms. Or if you want to test your mettle as an actor, come check out the workshop Sunday nights, and the first workshop is free. I'm Patrick Arthur for The Express.
It's mine. You're mean, Pokeroo.
In today's fast-paced world, people are affected by many kinds of stresses. Who knew food could be one of them? Author of The Thrive Diet, Brendan Brazier discovered this during his avid training as an Ironman triathlete.
When I was 15, I started off running track in high school, and I really enjoyed it. I then started looking at some of the top athletes' training programs, and I looked at some average athletes' training programs. And what really surprised me was that they're pretty much the same. So then, of course, that led me to the question, well, what makes some athletes great while others remain average if they're doing the same training? And I found that was to do with recovery, how fast they could regenerate muscle tissue and cells, basically. And I found that about 80% of that has to do with nutrition.
Good stress, such as exercise, can take a lot out of your body, so you need to put good things in.
Stress is a root cause of pretty much every problem. Being tired, headache, low energy, not sleeping well. If we drink coffee when we're tired and take sleeping pills when we can't sleep, we never actually treat the cause, and that becomes chronic, and then 20, 30, 40 years down the road, that can become a serious disease. Just shifting to foods that digest more easily, foods that are more alkaline forming, so lots of whole, natural, plant-based foods that your body can assimilate and actually use, as opposed to the highly processed, low-nutrient foods that are so prevalent in most North Americans' diets. And then people just no longer want to eat the food that's bad for them because they get this new flavor from the good food, and they just really like it, and then they kind of go that way. The good food is what you want to eat, and the bad food, just you lose a taste for it.
Say we're eating like white bread, bleached flour, that's actually stressing our body out?
Yeah, that's a huge form. That's nutritional stress that I write about quite a bit in the Thrive Diet. And what's happening there is that your body still has to digest and break that down. So it's working hard because it's not easy to digest processed foods that have no enzymes in it. So your body works, but it gets very few nutrients in return. And work without return is a form of stress, absolutely.
Mass-produced, overly processed food is inefficiently grown. Eating a whole foods, plant-based diet can improve our health and our environment.
Growing and transportation of food is the #1 user of fossil fuel, more so than any other industry, and therefore the #1 contributor to artificial global warming. Just by changing our diet, we can really reduce our carbon footprint by eating foods that are more efficiently grown, so therefore take less oil to produce. So for example, hemp is an excellent source of protein. You can grow 4 crops a year. You can grow it in Canada in pretty much any environment. Whey protein, for example, that's pretty common in a lot of health food stores. You have to obviously have land to raise a cow, and you have to have a bunch of land to grow the food to feed the cow. Then you have to extract the milk, and then the whey, and then the protein. So there's all these steps, and they all take a lot of energy.
Incorporating raw, unprocessed whole foods into your diet will make you happier, healthier, and looking younger. And that's something we all want. I'm Marnie Maines for The Express.
"26 years after the first case of AIDS was reported, millions of lives continue to be affected and lost to this devastating disease. As this year marks the 19th anniversary of World AIDS Day, Ken Buchanan is one of many HIV-positive people who understands the importance of remembering.
I think about my friends who have passed away and remembering them, and you know, the people around the world dying of AIDS. You know, the death rate has certainly slowed in Vancouver, you know, but there was still over 100 people last year died of AIDS, AIDS-related. But around the world, it's thousands, tens of thousands. So it's a significant loss. And, you know, good friends of mine die occasionally, and it's very hard.
Every day, millions of people of all ages, genders, and races from around the world are living and coping with HIV and AIDS. The BC Persons with AIDS Society gives people like Ken an opportunity for empowerment.
Working corporately for 25 years and to come to a nonprofit organization is just so much more fulfilling. You know, I used to make a lot of money, and now I don't. But I walk home every day feeling so much better. You know, I walk home thinking I've really done something today. I've done something to help myself, but to help so many other people within the society.
Opera Appassionata's annual Oratorio for AIDS concert is one of the ways Vancouver's performing arts community is lending their support. This year, the BCPWA is focusing their attention on the downtown east side.
It's a good place for the World AIDS Day events simply because it's one of the most affected populations neighborhood in the country. The downtown east side was very heavily hit by HIV and continues to be, so we need to kind of be where the infections are. You know, we deal with poverty rates down here, and HIV thrives in poverty. This is one of the areas of our country which has been left to rot, and it's a travesty.
This year's theme of harm reduction is especially meaningful to Ken.
Being a former drug addict and knowing a lot of drug addicts, this is especially important for me to reduce the harm especially downtown east side, the high-risk people within our society, who are more than likely the marginalized people in the society. It's very important to get it out there that AIDS is still a major problem and bring people awareness to it.
A red ribbon like this one is just one of the many ways you can show your support for World AIDS Day. You can also pick up an Extra West newspaper or a local community one to find out about events happening in your city. I'm Clayton Timko for The Express. One of the biggest names in the world of electronic music for the past 3 decades was featured at Vancouver's Plaza nightclub. 30 years after French-born Jean-Michel Jarre introduced audiences to his unique style of music, his original creations return, remastered, and better than ever.
I've heard that he's releasing his album 30 years after the first time he released it. And as soon as I heard it, I thought, oh, there's something new to bring to Vancouver, because he was never in Canada and nobody pretty much knows him in here, right? So it's excellent music. Everybody in the world loves it, you know. I just thought I'm going to bring something else, but hip-hop.
Although not live, the concert was seen on 3 screens, with one of them being shown in 3-dimensional. Mirko felt proud to pay tribute to a legend.
It's almost an honor to be able to do it for him, right? And I hope I will meet him one day for that, right? I just want to do a really big show in here, right? So this is a very small show, and I want to do a big show. I want to bring Jean-Michel Jarre to Vancouver, to Canada.
The 3D images are complemented by the surreal laser show, which brings to life Jarre's pioneering electronic beats and visions and give audiences a unique Vancouver experience.
When I began in 1980 as a founding member of Laser Fantasy, that show featured, amongst other wonderful songs, Oxygene Part 2 from Jean-Michel Jarre. So having an opportunity to work with the music again has really been a treat.
This laser show is so stunning because it is seen in full spectrum.
We use software where we've designed patterns and visuals and atmospheric looks that cause these tiny little mirrors to wiggle thousands of times a second, precisely the way we want them, where we want them, and the color and brightness that we want them to.
Clubs aren't the only way that Milo's lasers have dazzled. The recent Vancouver Stadium show of DJ Tiesto was also a great success.
The laser that we have here is one of 3 lasers actually that we used at that event. It was great. I mean, there was a big crowd, and the music was awesome, and the lasers worked really good.
Well, let's hope Mirko's goal of having Jean-Michel Jarre come to Vancouver can actually become a reality. I'm Clayton Timko for The Express.
Once again in Vancouver, it's a Drag King and Queen competition where over 10 weeks, there's a chance for someone to be crowned and an opportunity to win $1,000.
Nothing says fun like a Friday night with men in dresses.
This evening is a competition. We're here trying to get first-time performers to come out on stage and show us what they've got. It's also a chance for seasoned veterans, if they'd like to, come on out and just show us what they still have and what they're trying to tout around.
It's important because it brings new talent to drag, which is one of the main ways we raise money for charities in the city. It brings people that have never done drag, thought about doing it, to the stage and gives them a place to, you know, kind of show their craft so that we can, you know, use them in later shows.
Drag queen extraordinaire host Iona Whip has some tips on how to make a first-time performer really shine.
Number one, learn your words. If you don't know how to lip sync, you're not going to do well in the competition. Number two, if you're a drag queen, makeup, makeup, makeup. Get someone to help you, and if you can't, always, always get a MAC professional to do your makeup. It's the only way to go. Costumes are free reign. You can kind of go anywhere with that, but we always kind of favor the super sexy and sequin. That always goes over well. If you've got it and you can put together dance pieces, all the better. Anything that's going to get the audience going. If you're not a dancer, that's totally fine. If you know your words and you've got a great look, you're still going to do fine.
I'm gonna be singing. Roxy.
Yeah. The Ice Queen contest isn't just a drag queen contest. You know, women can be involved as well. With a twist, of course.
Well, a drag king is like a drag queen, but queens are guys that perform as women, whereas kings are women that perform as men. However, there's a lot of gray in between. There's a lot of transgendered individuals that will perform as either or. So drag is all about coming out and doing something that's completely different from your gender.
Veteran performer and judge Guda Gabor believes the event is important to Vancouver's queer community.
I enjoy seeing all the new queens. I enjoy seeing the competition, and I just feel privileged to be a part of it and want to encourage other people to come and have some fun in the community.
The Drag King and Queen contest at the Odyssey happens every year, and the beauty of it is that you, the audience, decides who wins. I'm Linda Stang for The Express. I gotta go home and check out my wardrobe. It was standing room only as the Davie Village Cafe paid tribute to one of Canada's most influential and loved authors, Jane Rule.
Jane Rule, who's a very famous lesbian writer, passed away in November, and we actually resurrected this reading series 2 months before she passed away. When she passed away, we decided to do the next one, this one in January, as a tribute to her. I just put a call out to a bunch of people I knew, writers and contributors to the paper, and we had lots of response. Lots of people wanted to get involved.
Jane Rule was a voice for many at a time when it was hard to find the courage to speak out.
She had the courage in 1964 to publish Desert of the Hearts. And that was really an amazing stepping stone for me. She created a space for me in the world. And I think she's really embedded in the Canadian psyche as a woman who really allowed women to acknowledge each other and love each other.
I just got to read about really realistic lesbian characters and like characters that really stayed with me, and they were people that I could be, and that they just seemed very familiar and real to me.
She wrote novels, and lesbian novels. In the first published one, 1964, Desert of the Heart, movie of the same name, I think spoke to many women because the women in it didn't die, didn't corrupt other people, didn't have a dreadful life of persecution. They just fell in love. Often in thrift stores or secondhand bookstores, she would come across a copy of one of her books, and it would have an inscription in it as from a gift from one woman to another, with all my love for eternity. And the book would be like 2 years old, and she would always wonder like what had happened.
Jane Rule was somebody who was who she was. Because she spoke out, and others like her, then those of us who are out and queer now can be who we are.
And I think younger people, especially today, would really gain something by reading something that, you know, stuff that's like 3 decades old, material that really paved the way for the freedoms that they enjoy now that they might take for granted.
The passing of not only a great author, but a great Canadian, Jane Rule. I'm Linda Stang for The Express.
was the bank for friends in need. Now I can say goodbye.
Meet Kate Reid, a Vancouver singer-songwriter who's definitely got something to say.
I know there are people out there who don't agree with me, 'cause I sing about who I am.
I write from my heart, whether it's funny or whether it's, you know, sort of serious and somber. I ultimately, what I do is write stories. I think it's that raw honesty that people like.
And I wish that if I cry enough, my tears will subside, and this fear in me will disappear.
Like the folk singers who inspire her, Kate's music is characterized by a strong political bent, and in many ways, just singing about who she is makes a bold statement.
I've heard women say, she's great, but she's kind of angry. Why does she have to keep on singing about her sexuality anyway?
As a lesbian is so prevalent in my songs because it's who I am, and it's not the only thing of who I am or piece of who I am, but it is a big part of who I am, and so it naturally comes out in my songs.
So excuse me for being a lesbian, I didn't mean for it to happen. I think I just caught it while standing in line at the bank the other day.
A performing artist originally from Ontario, Kate has taken on the Vancouver music scene with her unique blend of storytelling and irreverent humor.
Yeah, 'cause I'm the only dyke at the open mic, and the mic's down on the floor, and I'm already looking for the door, yeah.
People often appreciate the self-deprecating humor because, you know, everyone thinks they're an idiot sometimes and makes lots of goofy mistakes, and so I think people appreciate that.
And I'd go straight for Rizzy Bang, 'cause he's bloody brilliant and he ain't bad looking too.
When asked about her greatest accomplishment, Kate Reid has a surprising answer.
My greatest accomplishment is having this career, and that people are actually enjoying my music. Like, that just blows my mind, you know? It's so amazing because it's totally what I want to do.
I love Kate Reid. I love, like, her songs. They just tell a story. Each one is a different story.
She's comfortable in her own skin. She's able to actually get out there and say, hey, I'm a lesbian, I'm going to sing about it.
She obviously hits the gay community, but I think that she grasps a larger audience.
What I want is someone who sees right through me, and I don't want to process every single reason why.
And what's next for Kate Reid? An upcoming summer tour, and very soon a second album, where she'll no doubt continue to tell her very funny, very personal stories for her many fans. I'm Kendall Harris for The Express.
And when I live my life with integrity and reflection in my world, but you know it spins in a different direction.
There are 2.2 million people in the Lower Mainland. One of them has got to say yes to a date with me on Valentine's Day. If, we're just saying if, I had a girlfriend on Valentine's Day.
You have a girlfriend?
I know, it's hard to believe, isn't it?
You could always pick one of these nice chemises here.
Do you have anything bigger, like my size?
There you go.
And that...
Would look good in that or what?
And that... Oh, that's for her.
Yeah.
Oh, because I was going to say, I don't think you got the right size. Now, was this a pre-Valentine's Day gift, or did you just do this every day?
Engagement gift.
Oh my God. I know lingerie was really fun down there, but does it really get any better than chocolate on Valentine's Day? Now, is it true that that if you eat enough chocolate, you kind of feel like you want to be active with somebody?
Some people say that. We can't guarantee it.
Well, in that case, I'll take 7.
Okay.
Oh, look, we're making a lot of new friends. It's chocolate. Hey, you just bought chocolate?
Yeah.
Yeah, for who?
For myself, of course.
That's not for me.
No.
You like chocolate? She likes it so much she can't even speak. Okay, now, This sign is obviously doing something better than what I'm doing. If that was talking about me, there'd be this little UN here in front of Lucky. What would you want to do on Valentine's Day?
Oh, I always like the surprises.
Really? Can I surprise you right now with something?
What? Do I want something?
Will you go out with me on Valentine's Day?
Will I go with you? Yeah. Well, I don't even know your name.
Does it matter? It's Valentine's Day. What does Valentine's Day really mean to you?
I don't know. Just a time to be happy and be with people you like.
So the rest of the year, you're just not happy and you're with people you don't like?
Black Thursday, no. I can't handle Valentine's Day.
What advice would you have for someone single like me who has never had a date on Valentine's Day? What am I doing wrong?
You're free. You have a lot of freedom.
I am free, so I need to look at it a different way.
I have no plans whatsoever.
Really? Do you want some?
Yes, I do, actually.
Really? Am I your type? I'll write that down as a maybe.
I'm in engineering.
Engineering.
I'm interested in women.
Well, then would you like to spend Valentine's Day with me?
Your arms intimidate me.
Really? Oh, that's the best, most romantic thing someone could have ever said to me.
I love you!
And who's this?
That's Taz.
Have you ever used a dog as a decoy to get a date?
No, I got one.
Okay.
Before that, yeah.
So I'm thinking maybe that's what I'm doing wrong. Maybe that's what I need to do. Are these dogs for rent for these kind of purposes?
Sure.
What am I doing wrong? I am single and have been for a long time. This is really sweet. Is it the look? Is it the personality? Is it the voice? It's the humor. That's what I'm doing wrong, isn't it?
I think so.
Yeah, that's wrong.
The cheesy humor. You gotta be like, I don't know, a little more slick maybe.
For you lovebirds out there, happy Valentine's Day and enjoy your rose petals, chocolate paint, lingerie, and your cute puppy dogs. And for you single folk, well, I'm right here waiting for you on Denman Street. I'm Darren Storsley for The Express.
Prejudice, violence, and murder are some of the key themes explored in a new Vancouver production called Steel Kiss.
What's the matter? It's dark. No one can see you but me.
Do you come here often?
Steel Kiss is based on the real-life beating death of a gay man in Toronto by a group of teenagers in 1985. Considering recent hate crimes in Vancouver, director Patrick McDonald feels this play is as relevant today as when it was first performed over 20 years ago.
It's not just the gay bashings that we're looking at, it's groups of youth in schools that are carrying weapons. It's the fact that in high schools in Vancouver there's a police officer assigned to each school. Really, we're there to try to figure out what are perhaps some of the root causes that lead people to such a horrific degree of intolerance.
The 4 talented actors featured in Steel Kiss each play a variety of roles and are passionate about the story's relevance.
The horrifying thing is, and these kids will never be the same, ever. Their parents won't be the same. So the aftershock is a big part of what this play shows. Is that like actions, like you make a choice and you can't take it back.
Whether you're developing angry feelings towards any group, it's just about dealing with that and seeing a specific case of what can go wrong when you don't learn how to deal with that.
Hopefully they'll see little slices of their own life in it, or people that are recognizable to them. And hopefully they'll come away from it going, yeah, I know that guy, and like, oh, I know that guy.
I don't think you're ever gonna see a kind of play like this that's gonna rip up this kind of topic so completely, like in such a raw fashion. I think that this is a one-of-a-kind play.
Green Thumb Theatre, which produces Steel Kiss, has instituted a pay-what-you-can policy for students to make it more accessible and appealing for a younger audience.
It's totally a marketing means to invite people to come and try it out and see what it's like to actually experience being in a theatre, experience drama that's live and immediate. And there's something intensely personal about attending theater as opposed to going to a movie.
The play has been called provocative, powerful, furious, and intense. It is a show not to be missed. I'm Kendall Harris for The Express.